So custom segments, they're pretty much what we're formerly known as custom audiences. Now, what's the cool thing about custom segments? You get to create your own type of audience. So you won't really be competing with someone else in that type of audience, especially if you start thinking out of the box and how you construct these type of audiences. In the custom segments, you're gonna see different options. The very first option when you open up a custom segment audience is people with any of these interests or purchase intentions. So basically, you start putting a grouping of different keywords and Google is going to create a type of in-market audience for that type of keyword. So for example, let's just say you have a pet store, a dog store. You would put things such as dog food, dog toys, dog clothing, whatever it is that you sell, maybe a popular brand that's out there, a popular brand name, and that's what you would put in there. And Google itself would create an in-market audience. Now, an in-market audience comes from a whole bunch of signals that Google comes up with based on the sites that you visit, based on your activity and things of that nature. So it's pretty black box. It's not one of my favorite custom segment audiences that I use. My favorite custom segment audience is the next one. So if you select the next option where it says people who searched for any of these terms on Google. Now that's a custom segment based on search terms. If you already have search campaigns, the best thing to do is to look at a good time frame, whether it's 30, 60 days, it depends on how much data that you have, and look at the search queries that are being triggered and giving you conversions. Once you have those, you can download those and you can add those in the people who search for any of these terms on Google. So in essence, you're showing videos to people who search for these things on Google. So think of it as a search campaign. It's going to be more precise, it's going to be more likely to convert. The downside to that is if the search volume for these things is not that high, it will still come out to be rather either expensive or it won't fire as much. But this is always a go-to audience, in my opinion, as far as custom segments, because you can say, hey, I wanna look for people that are looking for a brand, I wanna check out people that are looking for our competitors, or these non-brand terms or generic terms, whichever way you want to term it, that have been converting in your regular search campaign. You can use those and that will give you a leg up on the competition regarding getting something that will convert. The next custom segment we have is people who browse websites similar to. This used to be known as custom affinity audiences. There's a misconception that Google looks at the exact URL. That's not the case. So for example, let's just say, staying on the pet store example, let's just say there's a Facebook group and the URL will be facebook.com/dogs. You would think, oh, okay, it's going to look at that URL and it's going to give me people that visit that URL in particular. But the reality is it looks at the main base URL. So it's pretty much targeting people that are likely to be on Facebook. And that's not what you're looking for. So you want to make sure that when you use sites like this, you want to be precise in the sites that you choose. Staying on the dog example, once again, let's just say I have a site that only sells to dogs. It's way more precise than a site that sells to all types of pets or all types of animals or National Geographic or something of that nature. So you really want to look at that, because what Google is doing is that they're looking at the site and they're categorizing, okay, people that come here, these are the topics that the site talks about. And they'll look at those different topics, and that's how those segments are used. I like testing those segments out as well. I'd say for my custom segments, that's my second favorite type to use. The last custom segment we have are people who use apps similar to. In essence, exactly what it is. Let's just say you're trying to target people that are losing weight and going to the gym. What do? They usually count their calories, and they'll use something like my fitness app or calorie counter. Pretty much you can target those people. I have tested that very minimally. That's obviously gonna work in niches that are super broad, because let's just say, for example, you have a B2B niche where there's a tool that is broad enough, maybe that can work out. Like, let's say, for example, you're trying to reach salespeople, and if Salesforce has an app, you could probably look for it and it would be there. And if a lot of people use that app, then that's a way of targeting them. But honestly, I haven't really had much success using that type of custom segment targeting, but it's something there. You should always test all these things and see what works for you and work for your niche. Now, if you want more tips on YouTube ads, targeting, so on and so forth, totally for free, check out our channel. If you feel like you want something a little bit more in depth be part of our weekly calls, step-by-step process, feel free to book a call and see if our course is right for you.